Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today and any other day that you watch one of my silly little shares. Alright, so today we are gonna do a very quick week in Bryan. It's been a busy week in Bryan, but a week in Bryan nonetheless. I am recording this a little earlier than I normally do because I've got some hard stuff coming up. And I didn't think that I'd be in the right headspace to be able to weaken Bryan afterwards. You'll understand more if you watch all the way to the end of this video. Yeah, so let's just jump on in. Personal stuff, lots of personal stuff. I'm really just going to leave it at that. If you watched my last video, you know, and if you watched to the end of this video, you'll know exactly what has really been dominating my personal life. Hobby-wise, I have gotten a bunch of stuff painted. I painted all of the special inspiration token things for Gamehole Con for my Strange Hollow event. I have all of the stuff ready for my IGH events. Yeah, just it's pretty cool. It's neat to have everything ready to rock and roll. Threw some paint on a super secret project for a client that I cannot talk about. Not that you guys care, but it looks pretty good. And it's the first time in a long time that I have added flock to a model instead of the base. Instead of just decorating the base, like actually using it as a way to build up sections of the model and mixing it with varnish. And so I'm excited. It's very cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much all my hobby stuff. Gaming, still been playing some Space Marine 2, playing some Total War, and then actually this last week, literally just yesterday, I got to play. We finished the big ship-to-ship battle in my wife's Tale of Monsters D&D game, which was a lot of fun. I mean, anytime that you know that a session is basically just going to be, okay, you started a big epic combat, now you've got to finish it. You know it's going to be, you know, a lot less role playing and a lot of, all right, let's do this, let's get the smash down. But we had a good time. It went a little longer than we thought it was going to, which sadly disappointed my son. I mean, he is almost 16, so if you tell him that a game session is going to run 2 hours and he's going to get to hang out and talk to his significant other, it will deflate their sales if it goes long. But we had a good time. Looking very forward to the next session, because we get to divvy out basically all the loot that we got off of effectively like a ghost pirate ship. The ship's not ghosts, the ghosts were on, yeah. So yeah, no, a bunch of cool stuff there. I will say that there was a moment when Natalie was just kind of given a quick rundown on here's the, you know, some rough estimates of the loot that you're going to hear, some of the noteworthy objects, and one of them was this little mechanical parrot, you know, like a steampunk gnome work pirate's parrot, but that it was broken. But as she was explaining that it was broken, my character, a Duergar cleric of the Forge, you know, obviously I'm like, oh, I can fix it. You know, it's a metal object. I can just use mending a bunch of times on it and get it working again. Sounds perfect. And before she had a chance to finish what she was saying, I mentioned that I could do that, and everyone at the table, who apparently had heard her say this already, said, well, that's going to be an interesting thing for your character to have. So my character is very dour, almost like kind of like Asperger's-y. Like it's very all logic driven. I have social connections. I understand them. but it's more about pragmatic to almost a crippling fault, that kind of thing, and not what I would consider to be funny on purpose. And apparently, whoever fixes this mechanical parrot, it will bond to and be like, you're my master now. And it is an object that I can, or whoever controls it, can basically send it to someone up to a mile away, where it will then unleash the equivalent of a vicious mockery spell. So it's a bad-mouthing mechanical parrot that, because I said that I could fix it easy peasy, I now have on my person. So a fun little tidbit, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see how often it gets switched on, so to speak. But it was a good section. It worked out well. I had a really good playtest session of Intergalactic Heroes last week with the Discord playtesters, and then on Sunday I actually invited over some of my locals to run through my Gamehole Con Heck Divers 2 IGH special event, which is effectively a nice mixture of Starship Troopers, Helldivers 2, and a little bit of like 40k Tyrannid feel. And I was doing it basically as a test for time, because I had on the Gamehole the Gamehole event submission thing, I put it as 3 hours instead of 4, and I had written it as a 4-hour scenario. So I kind of needed to figure out what can I shave off, what can I move a little quicker through, what needs to be pulled out of the limelight or pulled off of the scenario completely to be able to still make time. Everybody at the table had a good time. It was apparent that I was making a few minor mistakes on suppressing fire, which I won't do that again. I was making those mistakes in favor of the players. I will not do that again. But the scenario itself is fun. They had a good time. There was definitely a good couple of ooh ah moments at the table. Most of the players were new to Everyday Heroes, meaning that they're new to the core concepts behind Intergalactic Heroes. A few people had played a little more Everyday Heroes, but it was nice to get a good cross-section of the kind of people that I might end up at the table at Gamehole Con and then later on GaryCon. And so I wanted to give it a real good test, and I think it turned out well. I think the characters are well balanced. There is, I believe I may have given them almost too much of a sense of urgency, so they didn't do a lot of planning. They did a lot of let's just go, which is fine. It lends to the adventure, but it also meant that there were aspects of things that kind of got left behind, and then there were rules questions and that kind of thing. But overall, it went over really well, and I'm very, now that I've tightened it up a little bit, kind of highlighted the things that are must-haves and the things that are if you have time. Repaired one typo on the one of the character sheets. I think that it really is going to be a fun scenario for everybody that comes out to Gamehole to play. Sadly, it is sold out, so I can't really go into it more, except for the fact that if you come out to GaryCon in 2025, I will be running it a couple times, so there's going to be a couple of chances to play it out there. That's pretty much all my gaming. I had a Warzone playtest of some very cool units lined up, but it fell through. Oh, I have been playing more Magic the Gathering. Speaking of gaming, a couple of my friends have really kind of sunk back into Magic, and specifically not big competitive no like let's do a booster draft or anything like that, but just making up fun commander decks and sitting around for a few hours and drinking a few beers and playing games. And that's really, I needed that a lot last week. I really needed. I'm going to need another one soon here pretty soon too. But it was nice to have everybody over. It was nice to just kind of, throw cards, see some of these new cards, because it's been a hot minute since I bought some cards. I think the last set that I bought anything out of was like Innistrad. Yeah, or the D&D set. I don't know which one came first, but either way, I know that I was. That's the last time I bought heavy into Magic, and for all the grief that people give to WotC and all the grief that people give, super in-depth Magic nerds, it's a great game. It really is. There's a reason why it's the Giant. It's the reason why it's been around for 30 plus years, because it's a really good game. It's a solid game. And if you're playing with the right people and you're playing to just have fun, it's not about crushing your opponent or anything, or winning the big prizes. You're always doing it right. So that was a lot of fun. Work stuff. Whoa, baby. All right, so not only did I officially start putting words to page on the new Shadowrun novel, and it's already starting to sing. I knew that this book was going to be a good book, like a fun read and fun to write. And because it involves several characters that I have literally played around the table with at great length, it's so much fun to find their voice through what I'm doing. And A, I hope I do them justice. But B, it's neat to basically go, okay, hey, if I had if I could do a dream campaign, if I could do a dream mission, an over dramatized novelization of one of our missions, this is it. So I'm excited. I think this book is going to be a lot of fun, and I think that fans of the World of Shadows streaming series will be very happy to grab this book. So yay. So yeah, there's that. I am finishing up I have a regular column in the Augment Catalyst Game Labs in-world Shadowrun zine publication called Augment. I have a regular column in that, an in-character column, but it's a regular column nonetheless. And so I've gotten started on that. I need to get that smashed out in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, no, it's just good stuff there. We've made a couple of minor tweaks to some of the units coming up in Warzone after the Kickstarter wave delivers. There's been a few things that have come up in playtest that were like, well, maybe this, maybe that, maybe change it up a little bit. And then Alex and I had a pretty long meeting / discussion about one of the newer factions that people have not seen yet. I've got rules for just about everything, pretty much every faction that exists, at least a little bit, and knowing kind of which is the next one based off of our sculptors, based off of the art aesthetics, and also based off of what we want to see out in the world to start making Warzone Eternal have a bigger impact on the miniatures game scene. We came to some conclusions and ordered some sculpts, and things are gonna get moving. I can't wait. I really can't wait for people to be able to start playing. Alex put out a big update as to how many of each miniature, how many more miniatures are left to be delivered. We're still waiting on the acrylics from Death Ray Designs, but the just in general, it's we're so close. We are so close to being able to start packing out boxes. I won't say that it almost doesn't feel real, because it definitely feels real. The stress is there. But knowing that you know, knock on wood, in less than 6 months' time, there's going to be people playing Warzone around the world and coming to our social media things and asking us, you know, coming to conventions and sending messages on Discord and Facebook and Instagram and things about, you know, when's the next stuff coming out? What's next for my faction? What's the next faction? You know, like I know that stuff's coming, and it's going to become so much more that those messages are going to be so much more now we get those messages, and it's mostly people waiting for their stuff. So there's a tone there of, oh, man, I can't wait to get my stuff. They're expectant, they're excited, they want the stuff that they've paid for. Once we've rounded that corner and all the backer stuff goes out and all the retailers have their stuff, the messages we're going to start getting is, this is awesome, we want more. And I can't wait for that feeling. I can't wait to start seeing people post on Facebook pictures of their painted Res Nova Warzone Eternal models. I can't wait for people to go, hey, I bought, we ran one of the official tournaments this weekend, and a picture of the 3 winning armies holding up their victory coins. You know, like that's what I want, and I can't wait. That's going to be amazing. I officially started putting tentative rules and descriptions down for one of the expansion forces for Xenogenesis. So I'm now officially doing what the best hobby folks have hired me to do. Made a bunch of Strange Hollow creatures for the Strange Hollow book this last week, partially because some of them appear in my adventure that I'm running at GameholeCon, so I had to make sure they had stats. So yeah, I'm excited to have people see those, and honestly, I'm excited to do more monsters. I love building monsters. It's fun. I love getting to look at a piece of art and go, look at a piece of art, maybe see a narrative blurb and go, I can gamify that, and I love doing that. So getting to do that in Strange Hollow has been a lot of fun for obvious reasons. And then there is, I know, I never have enough work, but I had a very prominent member of the industry and a friend of mine reach out because he needs some design and development assistance. And it sounds like I'm going to be helping out with his project. And potentially future projects. It was a very nice conversation to have. I don't want to talk too much about it yet until it gets announced, but it was very flattering to have him say some of the things that he said about me and my work, and just knowing that I'm going to get to be a chance to be a part of one of his projects, one or more of his projects. Yeah, the paycheck's always nice, but I like knowing I've helped with one of my friends' success. I've helped with I've done my part in this really awesome product that people are now talking about. And so, yeah, that was a good conversation last week. That while the contract or anything has not been written, it's going to happen. We just have to basically get legal to carve everything up. And then, speaking of contracts and things, so my stuff at Evil Genius, going fabulously. In fact, this week, working on some Intergalactic Hero stuff, pretty much always. You know, there's no end. And now that I've officially started digging into the stuff that we're putting into the Game Master's Guide, there's always something to be done for IGH. But you know, I have other duties as well at Evil Genius, including adventure writing and things for some of our Patreon patrons, and for upcoming conventions and stuff as well. And so one of our lead designers, Sig Trent, Sig is a very, very skilled designer. He has got a wonderful head on those shoulders of his, and we handed him a project for an upcoming Patreon release, Patreon/PDF release, to create something that he said was not really in his wheelhouse. And he and I were going to tag team it, is that he was going to make some stat line stuff, and I was going to write the adventure to go along with it. That's still the case. But he had openly said from the very beginning, hey, when I build these stats and things, I'm going to need you to look over it to make sure that it fits the theme, not only for your adventure, but the general theme, because it's not really my bag. And I can't tell you enough. I cannot express this enough. But yeah, my adventure is going to be awesome. Of course. But what Sig put together as like the rules crunch for this project, I think is going to be an absolute crowd favorite. Because it is so off the wall and so not normal for what we do. That it's going to, people are going to see this and go, I can't believe that you guys did this. I want to play one of those. I want to play that. Can I bring this into Intergalactic Heroes? I mean, like, it's going to be amazing. And as soon as I can tell you more about it, I absolutely will. Let's just say it won't release until a little closer to Christmas time. If you know, you know. But yeah, so that's all the greatness in from the work side of things, as far as I can tell. So now let's do the congratulations to the September comment raffle winner. That would be at Box2Battle from episode 249. Thanks for saying that I am goals. Which I don't know about all that, but I appreciate the sentiment, and your comment came up in the Randominator as the winner. So when this video goes live, I will drop a comment on your comment to give you an email address. Sorry, my eyeball itches. For you to send me your shipping address so I can send you a fabulous prize pack of cool stuff from around the Studio de Nerd. All right, now let's get to the actual meat and potatoes of this episode. So I told you last week that I'm doing an episode dedicated to the Warzone Eternal impending tournament kit. So tournament kit number 1. The idea is we're going to make more of these at least once a season, like at least once a year, depending on how successful they are and how many that we sell. I may be able to do more. But right now, it is the first tournament kit. When this goes live on Friday, the following Monday, I will begin opening pre-orders. Now, the way that works, I was thinking about setting up a Shopify site or something, but I really only have one product to sell, because it's just the tournament kit. Because it's not the Res Nova, it's not through the Res Nova site. It is, I am selling it through Res Nova as far as corporate entity goes, because of, you know, licensing and things. I have to, but it's not actually a Res Nova product. If that makes any sense. I don't know, maybe I'm confounding things. But basically the way it works is I wanted to put together a tournament kit, and Alex was like, you go do that. And so over the last year, I have been creating the Word documents, creating the my lovely bride put together 4 award certificates for first place, second place. You know, we'll talk about that when we get into the kit itself. But award certificates that you can print out depending on how many times you want to run this tournament. You know, the tournament kit has prize support in it, but for effectively one tournament. But you could use the scenarios and the forms and reprint out new certificates and things. You could absolutely use this kit multiple times to run multiple tournaments. You just won't have any more of the official prize support that's in there unless you contacted me and ordered multiples or whatever. So the way this is going to work is you have the tournament kit itself comes with a flash drive that has all of the files on it, all of the award certificates you need to print out, obviously printouts for like roster sheets, or if you email them to your players ahead of time so they can print them out, or whatever the case may be. This this flash drive will have all of that stuff right there in digital form for you to be able to use. It also will contain your prize support. And the prize support in a tournament pack, in each tournament kit, is one, the tournament organizer gets a Warzone Eternal Season 2024-2025 tournament organizer patch. It's just a regular everyday, patch, not a sticky patch or anything. It's designed for you to, iron on or, stitch onto something. This is just the first of these patches. Expect more as more tournament kits happen or special events take place. For instance, when we get to the Eternals section of things, which I'll get to that in a second. I'm planning on having a special patch for all the participants at that tournament. So fantastic. The main prize support that comes in the tournament kit, and I think actually the reason why people, maybe even people who aren't going to buy the tournament kit for running tournaments, but they might actually buy them just to have them, is each tournament kit comes with three metal Luna City credit coins. Basically, each coin is a 40mm disc, a 40mm coin with a sculpted image on both sides. I thought I was going to have them physically here to record today, but they are currently in transit from the foundry to me. Norse Foundry built these, and I gave them my designs. They spec'd them out. They created them, and they have been forged and minted and all of that. I do have a picture of the untarnished, the bare master aluminum. So they won't look color-wise. They will not look like it. But I will go ahead and I will go ahead and put a picture of the master here so you can at least see. I wanted to be able to show it to you, but it's not here yet. So let me go ahead and just put up the picture so you can see what see what both sides of the master coin look like. So pretty cool, huh? I mean, it's the first of its kind, and I'm getting several hundred of them made. Because each tournament kit, now the finished product won't be that kind of like white aluminum. That's just for making the master molds and for me to basically verify that everything's spelled right and whatnot when they showed it to me. The finished models are going to be like the finished units models. Whew. The finished coins are actually going to be like a brushed nickel. So they'll look a little bit more like a coin that may have spent some time in someone's pocket, perhaps. But each tournament kit comes with one of these, the flash drive containing all of the units, or all of the documents. Why am I stuck on units? And 3 of the Luna City credit coins. Now, what you do with the tournament kit and all the materials inside, honestly, that is up to you. We urge you to use these tournament kits to build a better community and get those coins out there for people to use as objectives as they win them, and that sort of thing. If someone were to buy tournament kits just to have more coins, I'm not going to stop anybody. I'm not going to tell somebody how to have fun. I'm not going to tell somebody how to utilize the resources that we have utilized the resources that we have given. But that being said, I do want to really kind of impress upon people that I think that the tournament kit would be best served playing tournaments, if that makes any sense. But again, if you really just want the coins, you can just buy the tournament kits and keep your coins. No one's going to come to your house or your game club or your game store and yell and scream and tell you that you're doing it wrong. But I'm very much looking forward to having those. The patches are already in. I've got all of those. The coins are mid-air on the way here from the foundry. And all of the documents are done, and I have the flash drives. So I have everything basically ready to put together to send these out. I've already gotten the okay from Heroic Signatures to make sure that this stuff is viable by the license. The last thing I need to do is have our graphics guy go through the documents and just make sure that everything's laid out the way it's supposed to be as per our legal agreements and things. So there's just that one last little step that needs to get taken care of. And once that's done, I'll be able to start packing up envelopes and shipping them out. Now, I brought this up on social media, basically asking how early is too early for the tournament kits to come out. And overwhelmingly, the response that I got was start selling them as soon as you can, because then people can start getting ready for the tournaments, or the people who want to run proxy tournaments can as well. And you know, until our models are out for people to do so, then that makes perfect sense to me. I just need to basically compile everything and get the pre-orders in so I can then process and get all the packaging and everything to then send that stuff out as soon as everything is finished. If all goes well, the tournament organizers will have everything they need to be able to schedule a tournament for when the miniatures start to actually arrive to backers and retailers here in a couple of months. A few months, hopefully. I shouldn't put that kind of thing out in the world, because if I say a couple of months and it goes 61 days, someone's going to be like, Bryan said a couple of months, a couple is 2 months, 30 days, 60. Yeah. So soon is what we're talking about. But my hope is that if I get people their tournament kits ahead of time, they'll be ready to go. They'll be ready to rock and roll when the models start to arrive. So I mentioned what all comes in the tournament kit. I think I want to talk a little bit about what else is in the tournament kit and why is it important. I know some of you guys saw something cool in the thumbnail, and you probably want me to talk a little bit more about that, and I will. But I want to go through roughly what comes in the tournament kit first. I already talked about the physical stuff and what the documents are, but I kind of want to show you or explain to you what else. It also has forms for people to build their rosters on. It has a form for the tournament organizers to keep track of scoring. It has little pieces of snippets of paper that you can cut into slips for people to put their sportsmanship awards on. I mean, like, it really does have, barring rules, models, dice, and such, it has everything that you would really kind of need from a logistics point of view in order to run a tournament. The actual tournament rules kit itself is a 6-page document that goes through it. I have been told by some of the proofreaders that it is a little long-winded and it seems to be a little explainy in places, but this is on purpose. So for you seasoned tournament players and tournament organizers, a lot of this document you're going to read and go, duh, that makes perfect sense. It's written to the point of, we might be getting players that have never played or run a tournament before. So we wanted to try and make it as easy as possible and to it be explained in as much detail as possible. So that way, someone who's playing this, running their first tournament or playing their first tournament, or maybe this might be their first miniatures game, and they go, I wonder if I could run a tournament. They could pick one of these up, read through it, and go, okay, I think I understand. I mean, it goes all the way from like the tournament structure itself as to how many points you roughly want to have, as for how long the game length should be. You know, how much time do you have at your game store, or if you're running this at a tournament or at a convention, how long is your time slot? If you need 3 rounds, if you need 3 rounds at 50 deployment point forces, you know, those should probably be 2-hour games. That means you need 6 hours of play time, and that's not including organizational, the registration time, prize time afterwards. You probably need like maybe 7 hours, if not 8, to run that big of a tournament, including like a lunch break, unless you're just like order pizza in or something like that. And that's the stuff that we wanted to put in this tournament kit, so that way someone doesn't try to run one of these and not realize what they're getting into. It's got the requirements for the organizers. It's got the requirements that players, and requirements are basically you know, what the player is expected to bring. You know, you don't want someone to show up to your tournament with, I've got these 4 models, how do I use them? You know, like it's a tournament. You know, it's got prizes on the line. It's to build the community. You may want to help them. You may want to try and facilitate them to get to that point, but that way nobody is showing up to this and then the first turn or the first round of games, the first game doesn't happen for an extra 20 minutes because this person's got to find, oh, hey, I need to print out my sheet. Oh, hey, I need to go find dice. Oh, hey, you know, like they need to know what they're expected to bring. And that's what this tournament kit explains. It talks about how to, what do you do at registration? What do you do if a player's force is not legal? You know, what if a player's force is accidentally not legal? You know, that kind of thing. And then it talks about setting up the tournament. It talks about how to handle uneven numbers at a tournament. How do you handle the bye? And then it gets into the games themselves. The tournament kit is set up for a 3-game match, a three game setup, and the first game. The first game in the tournament kit is a breakthrough scenario. I'm not going to tell you all the details because obviously, you know, the tournament kit's going to explain all this, and so if I gave it all to you right now, you'd be like, why do we need the tournament kit? But it's a breakthrough scenario, and the way that these work, the way that the Warzone Eternal official tournament system works, is every player brings 2 army lists with them: one for agents of darkness, agents of light, and one for servants of darkness. Now, they could be the same list. No one is stopping you from building the exact same list twice and being like, I don't really want to vary my force based off of who I'm working for. Doesn't matter. But then there might be somebody who's like, no, if I end up on a Servants of Darkness list, I really want to make sure I've got a couple of, you know, I want to, have some cheapy necromutants, or, you know, that one, if I end up on the Agents of Light, I really want a Mortificator. You know, like, you can do that, but that list, those 2 lists will stay the same for all 3 of your matches. It just depends on which affiliation you end up in that match. It talks about how you set up terrain. Hopefully the tournament organizer will already have the terrain mostly set up, but there might need to be a little bit of scooching and moving around. Plus, in the way that we at Warzone Eternal, we feel that sometimes there are instances where you come to a table, where you come to a battlefield, and you go, if that piece of terrain remains where it is or on this table, there's no way you could put an objective up there or a sniper up there or something, and there's no way for me to ever actually get to them. So we've cooked into every scenario a way for each player to manipulate the terrain on the table once. Now, it could be that someone manipulates it and then the other person kind of undoes the manipulation. That's always a possibility, where it kind of goes back to the status quo. But more than anything, it's to kind of help make things help make the battlefield feel a little more like it's convenient for you, for your force. Like if you take a big fat force full of a bunch of group models, you know, just undead legionnaires or trenchers galore, some of those deployment zones can get pretty tight if there's a big fat piece of terrain right in the middle of it. So during the terrain setup part of each match, that player with all those trenchers or undead legionnaires could maybe scoot one of those pieces of terrain a little further out, giving them a little more room, that kind of thing. And then it talks about secondary objectives. Secondary objectives have always been a hot button topic in Warzone Eternal, in the fact that there are some of them that seem easier, especially with the current lineup of units. You know, as more units get added to the game, you will find that some of those secondary objectives suddenly become a lot easier if you've got a guy who can do this, or I can get to that, you know, that one's so easy to score every time. Well, now if your opponents suddenly have guys that can air deploy, maybe they can defend it a lot faster. You know, like there's more to it as time goes on, but we recognize that the secondary objectives in the core rules, there are some that are easier than others. And we did not want someone to just simply take all the easy ones every time, because that's just easy points. So the way it works is when you build a force, you actually build a pool of secondary objectives that you can choose from over the course of the day, over the course of the tournament. But you can only choose each one once, and each scenario, so game 1, game 2, game 3, each one of those, you get to choose one of your secondary objectives, because the other secondary objective was already chosen for you as part of the scenario. And those were designed and decided on to work toward the mission objective, the overall mission objective. You're not going to find the secondary objective that comes with these games. You're not going to find them that they go against the nature of the mission, or that, you know, well, I'm not going to score that because if I score that, I'm not going to score this. They're designed specifically kind of to work hand in hand. And then you add a secondary objective on top of that you feel maybe might be better for your force, or might be better for maybe your force in that particular mission, or maybe just your tactics. You know, you're like, you know what, I'm going to ignore that secondary mission because my opponent thinks that I'm going to be going for it, but I'm going to do this other thing. Now, for obvious reasons, all of these things, all secondary objectives, all army lists, everything is out in the open. There is no gotcha moments. There's no hidden secrets. Even models later on that maybe jump out of the shadows and deploy later, or airborne deployments, or, oh yeah, I've got an airstrike cooking. We don't want any of that. Not in a if you want in a friendly game where you hide that stuff, that's fine. But in a tournament, you need to be as open and honest as possible, because unfortunately, as soon as you throw competitiveness and prizes into the mix, there will be people that will try to pull a fast one. And we wanted to make sure that was not the case, because again, the whole point of this thing is for everybody to have fun and have a good time. So we want to try and facilitate that. So yes, game 1 is a breakthrough, or game 1 is a breakthrough style game. Game 2 is a key positions style game. Actually, 2 is a sabotage, and 3 is a key position style game. So that's effectively the contents of our first tournament kit. While this is important for everyone out there to play and get these cool stuff and all that, and all of those things, there is one other thing that I wanted to talk about before I let you go today, and that is the Adepticon Eternal Champions Annual. So Warzone Eternal we always knew that it was going to have a tournament scene. It might not, we may not have ever said that it was going to be like tournament driven, you know, or anything like that. But we wanted to make sure, because, you know, because some of my fondest memories back when I was running Wrath of Kings and Dark Age, was getting together people from the Facebook group, people from the forums. You know, hell, back when I was one of the guys at Privateer Press for War Machine, I loved going to like the Midnight Madness tournament at Origins and just seeing people that I only talked to electronically. You know, I only get to see them in person once a year. Let's you know, butt heads. Let's get some games in. And tournament play is one, especially at conventions, is one of the best ways to do that. So last year, I've already announced it. The communities know, but I wanted to reinforce the fact that, you know, this tournament kit is going to be a good primer to let people know roughly, maybe not exactly, but roughly what I'm going to be doing at the Eternal Champion Annual at Adepticon next year. And for all the people who don't know, it's going to be a tournament just like any other, but the final table, the winner, the first and second place. Everybody, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to get another patch made, but it's going to be a two-for patch, if that makes any sense. It's going to be the Warzone Eternal Champion, the Warzone Eternal Champions Tournament patch, and then I'm going to probably make, depending on the cost of things, I'm going to make rockers for the years. So, you know, every time that you come play, you get to, you know, every time you play one of these, you'll be able to add to how many times have you played champions. And you know, obviously everybody, you know, we want everybody to have a good time. It's going to be, we know it's going to be competitive. We want to make sure that people aren't being jerks about it. That's important. But the winners, the actual first place winner gets to choose a unit or potentially unit type from the last 30 years of Warzone and Mutant Chronicles to add to the roster. Basically, if it's something that I've already statted out, it gets pushed to the top of the queue to get, you know, sculpted and, you know, art concepted and sculpted and rules made and play tested, and basically get it into the game as soon as possible. That's the big prize. So if there's something out there that you're like, man, and of course the winner will get a copy of that automatically. You know, we're not gonna be like, hey, thanks for designing it, but you don't get one. But like, let's say that someone's like, you know, I really love the dog soldiers. They love capital dog soldiers. They think that they're amazing. They love them. I really want like a new dog soldier model for my capital force. Basically, we would then figure out, you know, Alex, myself, we would figure out what our art aesthetic for them is, how much it varies from old drawings or old models or anything. I'll cook up rules for them if I don't already have them, and we'll start immediately getting them through the playtest rigors. We'll immediately start putting them through their paces. And then getting a sculptor to put it together, and then as soon as it's available, stat card will go on to our online rules collection, rules imaginarium. I don't know, but it'll immediately go into the availability, and then that unit box will be sent out into the universe, and it'll be big because the Eternal Champion from the annual wins, and that's what they helped me with. That's what they helped us put together. But there's more. One of the things that I wanted to do is, because, you know, yes, having a first place is amazing. You know, having that first place, that person to be able to look and point and go, those dog soldiers are because of me. Or, you know, or maybe that weird, obscure type of Razid from the Algaroth role-playing game. That was probably never going to be a model, but I made it happen. That's what being an Eternal Champion's all about. However, I also got a thing created. So this is the Eternal Champions trophy. Now, you'll note that it's big, it's black, it's got a crazy nephite on the top. Because we're celebrating the war effort. Now, I wanted to, before I recorded this, I have a big black brass plate being made for right here that has our logo, and it says Warzone Eternal Champions on it. And what this is, what this little beauty is going to be, is, so it's going to have that label here, and then around the bottom, as the years go by, we're going to add brass plates with the year and the names of the first and second place. If there's room, I may put the faction on there as well, so we can kind of keep a general tally as to Bauhaus has won the Eternal Champions 7 times. The Sons of Rasputin won once in 2028. I'm a big hockey fan, and I love the idea that the Stanley Cup has the names of everyone who's ever won engraved on it, on those little plates that go all the way around. And so I wanted to do the same thing for Warzone Eternal. So basically, what this is that this will come with me, so you guys all get to go ooh ah, and then whoever wins, I'll take your names. I'll take the first and second place players' names. I'll write them down how you would like them to be inscribed on your plate, and then we should be able to fit 4 of those plates on each side, and that gives us 16 years on this trophy alone. Hopefully, I would love for that to be to fill this baby up with names to the point where I have to then. I've already talked to the trophy maker. This bottom row can be made to sit into a 3rd tier to add more names if we needed to. So I'm so excited. I think this turned out great so far. I really wish I had that nameplate for you. It's supposed to show up in the next couple days. When it does, my next video, I'll go ahead and show it here, or maybe I'll post a picture of it on the social media platforms, just so you guys can see what's coming, what's impending, where you could fight to get at Adepticon 2025 and beyond, where you could fight to get your name on the Eternal Champions trophy. And I'm very excited. I know March is a long way away. I've already started building the Tinker Turf terrain for many of the tables. It's a lot. And we hope to be able to put together a couple of other tables, perhaps with some like jungle, or maybe a like a frozen wasteland or something. We're hoping to get a little more variance, so it's not all just urban boxes and low walls and things. But the work has begun. Process has begun. The Warzone Eternal annual Eternal Champions tournament is going to happen. It's a real thing. It just has to, it's got to be out there. It's got to be, it has to be, time has to move forward. We got to get the miniatures out to you guys so you can got to get some coats of paint on them. Yeah. So, Warzone Eternal, baby. I'm doing my damnedest to try and make this into a sound and lasting game where people will be having fun for a very, very long time, with a very important and memorable license to a lot of us. So, fantastic. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I don't even know how long we've been going, but I'm going to let you guys go. Please be safe. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Get a shot. We're starting to get into cold and flu season, so please be safe. And you know, try and leave every room a little happier than when you got there, and have fun and play some games. We'll see you next week.